Hello everyone, and welcome to day 96 of my 100-day project. We are in the final stretch, and I'm finding myself going, what do I want to do these last few days? And like starting to put a little bit of pressure on myself to like I'm never going to be able to paint or draw again, like duh. But it's kind of funny how coming to the close, I'm kind of noticing these thoughts and tendencies. So that's a good thing to know about myself. Today, a quick video today, and this was a really quick, I guess not really a painting, a drawing. I got some new Derwent XL charcoal, tinted charcoal. I have a set that I've used before, and I got a new set that has more colors in it. And I thought, oh, okay, let me try this out and let me see what happens if I use it with some Canson velvet, the Metant velvet paper. And you saw me just a minute ago try and blend it with my finger. Guess what? That paper holds onto that charcoal and it does not move, at least not the base layer. Once I build up some layers, I can actually go in and get it to blend on top. But that paper, it just grabs onto the pigment so beautifully and it doesn't move. So this was a wonderful experiment with these because these charcoals make a mess. They are big and chunky and luscious, and they make a lot of mess. So it was really awesome to kind of do that. And I'm using a fairly light hand. You'll see with my marks, I'll go between a heavier hand when I'm starting and then a lighter hand as I go over and I try to layer. And they layered really, really well. So this was super fun, which is why I think it came together so quickly. I was just playing and having fun. So here you can see that blends really nicely. But where it's just one layer on the paper itself, it does not want to move. So it's really, really cool. I have to say, I really love this paper. Like I have loved it with soft pastel. I have loved it with oil pastel. I've loved it with wax pastel and now with charcoal. I haven't tried it with graphite. Maybe that's what I'll do tomorrow and we'll see what that does. That's going to be really interesting because the graphite doesn't move in the same way that charcoal does anyway. And this paper is safe to use with wet media. See, now I'm getting an idea. I wonder, because I do have some white paper, I wonder if I get some white paper and I do it with the water-soluble graphite and use water on it. Maybe that's tomorrow's experiment. That would be kind of cool. So at this point, she's totally got this David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust vibe with her hair. But I come in and fix that later and just kind of get things going. In terms of the structure for her, like yesterday, I'm less focused on what I'm drawing and more focused on the experience of the materials and the experience of drawing. So the interesting thing I find about this is I've built muscle memory around drawing faces, that it doesn't take a lot of thought to do it. Like I can make a shape for an eye and it'll look, like it resembles an eye. It won't be perfect by any stretch, but that's not what I go for anyway. So it's been really interesting, like embedding this muscle memory deeper and deeper because it's actually freed me up to focus on the experience of these different materials and using them in different ways. And I really like the way she came out with these big, big, bold marks. I have to say I'm a huge fan of all these Derwent XL. I didn't use ink tints in this particular series, but Derwent does make something called ink tints. They are ink essentially in a stick form. So they come in like a pan form, in a pencil form, which is how I got introduced to them. They've got blocks, and then they've got these XL blocks that are this size, and that could be a really fun thing to play with after this 100-day series. Just because the 100 days is over doesn't mean I have to stop. So that could be another fun thing to do at the end of it. So I've got her pretty much done. Her neck kind of disappeared, so I go in and I address that a little bit later. But I'm thinking about the background. I reached in for this yellow ochre color, which is from my first tinted charcoal set. The ochre color that's in the current set is the exact same color as the background paper, so it did not show up at all. So, but this yellow ochre color looks really nice. And then I end up layering some white charcoal over it just to kind of see what would happen, to be honest. Like, can I layer it over? And I really like that mottled sort of look. And I smacked it pretty hard on the back to get rid of the dust. And so it held on in places where the layers were really thin and let go in places where they were thicker. But I have to say, I'm a huge fan of these XL blocks. So much fun, even on a 5x7 size, which is fairly small. I was able to get the detail that I needed in her eyes and her mouth. And everywhere else, it was just fun to create these big, bold marks and play. So yeah, big fan, big fan. This is day 96. Oh my goodness. So few days left. I hope you're doing well. Take care of you. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.